Okay, so you've probably seen the headlines recently about Virginia Giuffre. Her name is, well, it's almost synonymous with the Jeffrey Epstein investigations.
Absolutely. And Prince Andrew, too, of course.
Right. But today we want to go a bit deeper than just those headlines. It's a really complex and ultimately very tragic story.
It is. We've looked at reports from places like One News, The Guardian, BBC, NBC News, and her Wikipedia entry, too. A range of sources.
Exactly. So the goal here, our mission for this deep dive, is to sort of piece together the significance of her life, her role in this huge international scandal, using these details.
And we have to start by acknowledging the really sad news of her death by suicide. Only 41 years old in Western Australia, confirmed by her publicist and family.
Such a difficult starting point. So who was Virginia Giuffre before the headlines?
Well, she was born Virginia Louise Roberts back in '83 in Sacramento. But she grew up mostly in Florida from about age 4. And, looking at the sources, it sounds like her childhood wasn't easy at all. There are reports of alleged sexual abuse starting when she was just 7 by a family friend.
7 years old. That's incredibly young.
It is. And the information suggests this trauma might have led to her running away from home later, living on the streets when she was about 14.
Just painting a picture of extreme vulnerability there.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, it seems that vulnerability might have been exploited further. There are allegations involving a man named Ron Eppinger.
Ah, yes, I saw that. A convicted sex trafficker, wasn't he?
That's right. He apparently ran a supposed modeling agency, which was just a front. It highlights this awful pattern you sometimes see.
Using legitimate-looking setups to, well, to trap people.
Exactly. But then there's a sort of turning point, maybe. She reconnected with her father.
Yeah, and interestingly, he worked at Donald Trump's Mar-a-Lago club.
Right, Mar-a-Lago. And she ended up working there, too.
This is where things really shift, isn't it? It's mid-2000. She's working as a spa attendant there, apparently reading a book about massage therapy.
And Ghislaine Maxwell approaches her
Just like that, a British socialite sees her reading this book.
and offers her a job. Traveling masseuse for Jeffrey Epstein.
But the key detail, which multiple sources point out, is that Giuffre had, like, zero actual experience or training in massage therapy at that point.
Which immediately makes you think, okay, what was this really about? It just screams red flag, doesn't it?
It really does. It points towards what people often call grooming, right?
Precisely. Giuffre herself described in her accounts how Maxwell and Epstein allegedly started manipulating her almost immediately after she got to Epstein's place in Palm Beach.
How so?
Well, it's reported she shared details about her difficult past, her vulnerabilities, and the allegation is that they used that information to build trust, gain control, exploit those very vulnerabilities.
So this alleged grooming, this manipulation, it leads directly into the core accusations.
Yes, the trafficking allegations. Between 2000 and 2002, she claims she was trafficked by both Epstein and Maxwell.
And just to be clear for everyone listening, when we talk about trafficking in this context, it involves being forced, defrauded, or coerced into providing commercial sex acts.
Right. And Giuffre's claim was that she was made to give massages and provide sexual services not just to Epstein and Maxwell, but to their friends, their associates. Powerful people.
The scale of it, as she described it, is just staggering. She used that phrase.
Passed around like a platter of fruit. It's such a stark, dehumanizing image. Really powerful.
It is. And among the powerful men she named was, of course, Prince Andrew.
And those allegations against him really blew up. Huge public interest, intense legal focus.
She was very specific about Prince Andrew. 3 alleged encounters back in 2001.
Yeah, the first one apparently in London, after they met at Tramp nightclub.
Then at Epstein's mansion in New York, she would have been 17 then.
Underage, yeah. And the third time on Epstein's private island, Little St. James, in the U.S. Virgin Islands. She was 18 by then.
And then there's that photograph.
Yes. The infamous photo. Giuffre, Prince Andrew, Ghislaine Maxwell in the background, in Maxwell's London townhouse.
What's really striking is the timestamp detail, right? Apparently on the back, indicating it was developed shortly after that first alleged London encounter.
It certainly made Prince Andrew's position more difficult. His consistent denials.
He categorically rejected all of it. Said he had no memory, no recollection whatsoever of meeting her.
Which was famously tested in that BBC Newsnight interview in November 2019.
Oh, that interview. It was widely criticized, wasn't it? His explanations just didn't seem to land well.
No, they really didn't. Many felt it damaged his credibility rather than helped it, which then led to the legal action.
Right. The civil lawsuit Giuffre filed against him in New York in 2021. for sexual abuse.
And it's worth remembering, a civil case isn't about proving guilt like in a criminal trial. It's about liability and damages.
True. He kept denying the claims, but they did eventually settle out of court in 2022.
We don't know the exact amount, it's confidential, but the settlement included Prince Andrew making a substantial donation to Giuffre's organization for survivors.
And importantly, that joint statement they released acknowledged Epstein as a trafficker and Jeffrey as an established victim of abuse.
Yes, although, crucially, Prince Andrew himself admitted no personal wrongdoing in that statement.
It's a complex outcome, and this wasn't her only legal fight, was it?
Not at all. She also pursued cases against Epstein himself and others connected to him. There was that defamation suit against Ghislaine Maxwell.
That was settled earlier, back in 2017, wasn't it? Reportedly for, well, millions.
Yeah, a significant sum, apparently. And then there was the situation with Alan Dershowitz.
Right, she had accused him of abuse, too, which he strongly denied. That led to more lawsuits back and forth.
Defamation claims from both sides, I believe. But eventually all those lawsuits were dropped in late 2022.
And Giuffre actually stated afterwards that she might have made a mistake in identifying Dershowitz.
Which, highlights the complexities of memory, especially around trauma. It doesn't necessarily invalidate other claims, but it adds another layer.
Definitely. But through all these incredibly difficult legal battles, she also became a really prominent advocate.
She did. She founded Victims Refuse Silence around 2014 or 2015.
Which then became ESSER Speak Out, Act Reclaim in 2021.
Exactly. Nonprofits set up specifically to support other survivors of sex trafficking, to give them resources, a voice.
And the impact seems quite profound. We saw in the sources that other Epstein survivors actually credited her bravery.
Yeah, saying her speaking out gave them the courage to tell their own stories. That's a powerful legacy, isn't it? Empowering others.
It really is. Her fight wasn't just personal, it had this wider effect.
It wasn't just in the U.S. NBC reported she testified against Jean-Luc Brunel, another figure linked to Epstein, in a courtroom in Paris in 2021.
Wow, showing real determination to pursue accountability wherever it led.
Absolutely. On the personal side, away from the courts and advocacy, she married Robert Giuffre back in 2002.
They met in Thailand, right? At a massage school she apparently attended because Epstein sent her there.
That's the report, yes. Another quite disturbing detail, suggesting continued control even then. But they moved to Australia, started a family, had 3 children.
Trying to build a life, a sense of normalcy after everything?
It seems so, although more recently, the BBC and Wikipedia note reports from early 2025 indicating they had separated.
Okay. And there were ongoing legal things about child custody, too.
Yes, suggesting continued personal difficulties she was navigating.
There was also that slightly odd incident recently, wasn't there? Something about a car accident posted on social media?
Yeah, it was initially described as quite severe, but then that was apparently clarified or walked back a bit. Local police seemed to dispute the severity.
A bit unclear what was going on there, perhaps pointing to some stress or turbulence in that period.
Possibly. Which brings us sadly to April 25th, 2025, her death.
Died by suicide at her farm in Western Australia, just 41.
Her family released a statement reported everywhere saying the toll of abuse became unbearable for her. Just heartbreaking.
It really is. Police in West Australia are investigating, standard procedure, but the early signs suggest it's not considered suspicious.
The reaction to her death, the tributes, they really speak volumes. People calling her a fierce warrior.
A beacon to other survivors and victims, someone who gave voice to the silenced.
Yeah, powerful words, but also that quote in The Guardian from a campaigner.
Saying the fight cost her everything.
It's a really sobering reminder, isn't it, of the immense personal burden survivors carry when they choose to speak out, especially against the rich and powerful.
Absolutely. Her death obviously leaves, well, it leaves unanswered questions.
Yeah.
And it's just a tragic conclusion to a life marked by so much alleged trauma and then this relentless fight for justice.
A fight not just for herself, but for others too. That advocacy work is key.
No question. Virginia Giuffre's impact on bringing the Epstein scandal and the actions of those around him into the light. It's undeniable. She challenged incredibly powerful systems and individuals.
Hopefully this deep dive has helped give you, the listener, a bit more context, more nuanced picture beyond just the tragic headlines of her death, understanding her life, her claims, her impact.
And it really forces us to confront the sheer weight of trauma, doesn't it? And the toll that seeking justice can take. Her family's words about the unbearable toll really stick with you.
They do. It's a devastating reality for many survivors.
So maybe the thought to leave you with as we wrap up is to think about those bigger issues Virginia Giuffre's story throws into such sharp relief.
Issues like the trafficking of children and young people, the horrific abuse of power, the silencing of victims.
And the long, long shadow this casts over survivors' lives. So the question really becomes, how can we as a society do better? How can we offer more support? And crucially, how can we prevent these kinds of abuses from ever happening in the first place?
That's the critical question we need to keep asking.